Oh, hello, and thank you for joining me. I'm Timbo Took, and this is A Joy of Painting Middle-earth, a time when we come together to paint the most fantastic landscapes Middle-earth has to offer. And maybe we'll paint a scary one a time or two. That can be quite fun, you know. Now, I may not be the best painter in the Shire, but I do love it so, and I'd love for you to paint right along with me. So if you're ready, grab your paints and your brushes, and let's go on an adventure. Oh, hello, and thank you again for joining me. Now, you can see today that we have a black canvas, and we've been doing a number of these lately because we've been making our way to Mordor. That's right. Oh, we have some paint that's trying to run away from us. Oh, come here. That'll get a bit messy. It'll get all over me. All over my face, I won't even know it. I'll just be talking to you and I'll have paint all over my face. I'll look like a warrior or something. Now, I've prepared the canvas, and the way I've done that is I've taken a black canvas. This actually was a white canvas. I painted it with a black acrylic gesso, and we made that black. And I even put some black oil paint on there, some ivory black. I put it on there, and I put a little alizarin crimson just in this spot where our volcano is going to be, where Mount Doom will be, that's right. But the rest of it I put on a thin coat of that ivory black, just to give it that wet on wet technique that the Blue Wizard taught us how to do. That's right, Bob Ross the Blue. He used to come to the Shire once a week when I was a boy, and he'd show us all how to paint. So, what we're going to do, we've got it prepared. We're just going to come in with some titanium white, and let's just go right into our clouds here, and that'll mix with that black, and it'll become a nice gray. There we go. You see, we don't want too much white in there. We want that gray to come through. And I'm staying away from the alizarin crimson spot. This is red. I don't know if you can see it on there, but there's some red right here, and we're just going to keep this down this way for now. Of course, we're going to have our Tower Barad-dûr right there. That scary tower with the eye looking out. There we go. Now our brush has picked up some of that black. So if we go right in there, we're just going to pollute our titanium white. So we're going to wash off our brush. We'll wash it in odorless paint thinner. That's right. We just give it a soak in there. And just beat the Sauron out of the brush down there. That's right, Sauron. You are going to be vanquished. Now we come back into that titanium white. Oh, it's kind of funny. We've been all year long, we've been painting these paintings and telling you to beat the Sauron out of your brush. And now we're doing the painting where he's just about to be beaten. That's right. We're going to come up here. This is our brighter spot here. And then just bring it down. And we're going to soften this up. So don't worry about that. We'll come and we're going to come right over here. And this, now we're going to start mixing this in. It'll mix in there with that alizarin crimson. There we go. And what we want to do now is we want this to be darker. So we're going to go back into that ivory black. Just pick some of that up on your fan brush and come right in here. And there we go. We're going to darken that down. Otherwise, it'll just pinken it up. And while pink is a beautiful color in the sky, for Mount Doom, we want it to look a little more threatening with that deep red. That's right. Now we've done that, let's soften this up a bit. And we're going to come, oh, there we go. We have that blender brush. This works really well. And let's just come in here, and we're just going to soften this up just to make these clouds. Actually, why don't we use a brush? Let's use a brush real quick. One of our 2-inch brushes, this, and we'll just come in and we'll just soften it up with this and then use the blender brush over that because we've got quite a bit of oil on there right now. And that blender brush will just it'll soak it down, it'll pick a lot of that up. So let's soften this up first this way. There we go. There we go. Now pick up that blender brush. Now we can come in and just gently mix that together. There we are. And hopefully the glare isn't too bad. These black canvases, when they get a little wet, the glare gets really bad, and I can see what I'm doing, but sometimes you can't see what I'm doing. That's right. Now, I hope you all had a good time last week as we did Tolkien Reading Day. I hope you got a chance to watch that video where we went through and, we painted Shelob and Sam battling it out over Mr. Frodo. That's right. Oh, my grand gaffer Gamgee certainly was a brave hobbit as he took a stand against that awful villain. That's right. Just soften that out. There we go. There we go. That's that dark sky that we like to paint there. There we are. All right. Now, let's come back. Clean off our fan brush. Now, I'm just beating the Sauron out of the fan brush down in the rubbish bin. If you're outside or your hobbit hole isn't quite so as cluttered as mine, and you can beat the Sauron out of it and just throw the oil everywhere, throw the odorless paint thinner everywhere, you can do that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come in steps. So we've got some alizarin crimson down. Let's just put a little more down there. That's right. Make it a little brighter. We've got it soft in the background. There we are. Now we're going to come into some of our bright red here. We don't even have to worry about washing off that brush in between because these are going to be mixing together. Now you decide our brightest spot will be right here, and we'll bring that out. And just mixing that together with the alizarin crimson. And every time you load up the brush, come to your brightest spot and work your way out from there. There we go. There we go. Now, of course, we need to go to some of our cadmium yellow. Let's mix some of that. Mix that in with our, make an orange there. There we go. We'll start with that. Just come in. Of course, we're mixing all these colors together. All right, now I'm going to give this brush a clean. And we're going to come straight into our cadmium lemon. That yellow color there. We'll come straight into this guy. And maybe we'll just put a dab of our paint thinner on there just to thin that out a bit. Just a little there. There we go. Just mix that onto the brush. Come back up. And here we are, right in the center there. Mix that out. It gives us that fiery look. Oh, we might have put a little too much paint thinner on there. We don't want to get it too thin. I'm throwing that across the hobbit hole. There we go. Just put a little more right on your brush. Just come up and in that lighter area. There we go. Just mix that in. Just make that fire come. That's what we want. We want that fire just coming right out of that volcano. And this is just for the background right now. This is just that background, just to get those colors mixing together. There we are. There we go. And wash off that brush. And I washed off my blender brush. I'm just going to use a paper towel to dry that off so we're not putting a lot of that paint thinner into our painting there. Now let's go up and let's mix this in, because these are really just kind of making our clouds. There we go. And you have to remember, these oil paints, when they dry, they're going to lose some of their luster. The color will go out of them. So you can even make it a little brighter if you want. And remember that, that color may fade as it dries a little bit. And just bring that out. There we go. Just mix that down. But now we also have our tower over here, the eye. So we need to do something about that. That's right. Let's go over this way and do kind of the same that we did here. It's not quite as much. We have our eye that our tower is going to be. Now, my grand gaffer Gamgee, he told me about the tower, and he didn't really specifically say there's this bright glowing eye of fire. He just said there was a watchful eye in the tower. Now, when my grandpappy Took got into his cups a bit, he made up this wild tale of how there was this fiery eye that looked all about, and it would burn on them. And I do like that tale. But just know, either way, whether you think it was just an eye in the tower or it was a fiery eye in the sky, that's fine, that's fine. Oh, as long as we're enjoying the story, that's what it's about. Okay, so here we go. We're just going to tap in some of this alizarin crimson. Right, and then we're just going to mix that about. And that'll set where our tower is. There we go. So we have that there. This is just creating a glow. We'll put that eye in a few. Wash off that brush. Now we'll come to some of our bright red. And we'll put that in there. Just tap that in just as you come out. There we go. And let's go. We'll put a little bit of that cadmium lemon right in there as well. And again, we're just putting that in to glow the sky in the back. And let's take our blender brush. Now let's blend those together. You don't want to blend them too much because you don't want it just to be turned into mud back there. But just lightly, just pull that out. There you see. And you can even come back and go on top of it with a little more of that cadmium lemon. Putting that in there, and you see those are mixing together. And we want that yellow to kind of stay on the top layer there. There we go. There we go. That's good for now. That's good for now. All right. Now, furthest away is our Mount Doom. So let's put our volcano in there. That's right. And it's in silhouette mostly. There we go. Mostly in silhouette because of the bright sky that's coming. But we want to go right up here, right towards the center of that. That will be where our volcano comes. And we're just using our palette knife with some of our ivory black. And we just bring this down. And we're giving it giving it some shape, some texture with those paints. There we go. And you can put this on a little thick. It'll take a little bit longer to dry. But you see there, just taking that, whoops. And we'll do the other, we'll make it this wide here. And you see how we do that? With the knife, we get a bit of paint on there, and then we just pull it down, just letting it fall off the knife, and leaving texture right on that canvas. That's what people like. People like once that dries and it has that, it gives it kind of a three-dimensional texture. You can actually touch and feel it. Oh, that is what makes these paints so fun to do. Just bring that down. There we go. Now, there was a bit. You remember the entrance. You remember that entrance to Mount Doom. We'll put that in there. So I've put that cadmium lemon and a little bit of that bright red right on the... Oh, I'm using a filbert brush right here because this is a bit of a smaller brush. Right there, just mixing those two together. There we go. Now let's just set that brush off to the side for a moment. Come back. And what we'll do is we just kind of come right over the top of that. So it's pushing it back. Pushing it back there. There we go. Same on this side. We'll come down. And we're giving it that dimension. There we are. Now we're going to use that shorter edge on our knife. And we'll come right here. And we'll give it the look of that path that comes right out of there. And hopefully you can see that. I know with these black canvases it can get a little hard. There we are. Now what we want to do is we want to highlight it a little bit. We're going to go to some of our burnt umber here. Maybe a touch of our titanium white. And we're just looking for a dark brown marbled color there. A little more of our burnt umber. Put that in there. There we go. So now we're just going to take that and we're going to do some highlighting on this. And we just come down, and that's just giving us a little bit more of that mountain. Just giving it some definition there. There we go. Just lightly. Just pull that down. Grab some more. There we are. And just very quickly, you can see we're just putting some highlight in there. We don't want to take it all away, all that darkness. We don't want to make the mountain look like a nice happy place. That's right. And we'll just bring this out here as though there were that path that comes along the mountain. And then hide that path behind some rocks there. There we are. And as we get down towards the bottom, you can make it a bit more gray. There we go. There we are. Now let's do a little bit of work up on the top there. Okay, now we have some of that volcanic fire coming right out of there, rolling right down the mountain. So we just come up here and just bring that down. There we go. Now you're going to be picking up some of that dark paint. So what you want to do is just find a spot, just wipe that off. There you go. And come back to it. And of course I've picked up my smaller palette knife just to be able to give it some more fine details. There we go. And you can mix up that orangish yellow color. There we go. For some of that lava that's rolling down the mountain, you just bring it down. Again, you're just letting it find its way down. And some of it's getting tossed up into the sky. There we go. And what we're doing is we're just mixing those colors together right on the knife. Don't mix them completely, and then we'll just come in and just bring it up into the air. There we go. There we go. And you can put as much or as little of this in as you want. You can really have it just blasting out all over. Just remember to mix your colors up just so it's not all one shade in there. There we go. And this will be a fun one once it dries. Like I said, it'll have some texture to it. There we go. And we can put some there. And there. And there. There we are. And bring it down the side here. You're just pressing so lightly because you don't want to pick up more of that black. Just bring that down. And right down this side. Oh, and there we go. I picked up a bunch of black. There we are. That's okay, that's okay. But you can see, you can give as much or as little to that as you want. Maybe some more red in there. Those lava flows are usually nice and glowing and red. There we are. As I said, you could stay here all day long putting those details in. You can even grab some black because in these explosions there's always pieces of rock that are included in there. And this ash. There we go. Now, as we know, that's back off in the distance, closer to us, from this perspective anyways, is going to be our tower. Barad-dûr. That's right. And what we'll do is we'll put some spires here. Oh, this is a fun one. I've been waiting a long time to paint this one. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. There we go. Just bring that down. Give some shape in there. And of course, we have the Dark Tower, Barad-dûr. Where our villain Sauron lives. There we are. Bring that down. Make it a place that a villain would live. There we go. Just mash that right in. Oh, and speaking of mashing, I didn't even plan that out. But as my little hobbits tell me, I should remind you to mash that subscribe button. Or boil it and mash it and stick it in a stew, whatever you want to do. And hit the like button. Give it a thumbs up. That's an easy thing to do. There we go. We can speed up this process a bit. Now, it was the tallest tower where the eye resided. So that means there were probably many towers. So we'll put in a few others in here. That tower. This tower. And there were dungeons and all in there, of course. There we go. We'll just pick up some of our white now. Titanium white. That's just going to highlight some of this. We'll just highlight this edge. There we go. And you can mix that right in on the canvas. If it's too white, you just mix it down together. There we go. That just helps it stand out a bit. Some more of that there. All right, now of course, with that volcano over there exploding so much, there would be a little bit of light that would be highlighting our tower here on this side. And we don't want it too much. We don't want to make it look like it's a second volcano. But we do want to give it that sense that that's what it would look like. And on this side, there we go. There we go. And maybe we have some levels down here that are giving off some glows from the dungeon. Now, as I said, you can paint this however you want, however you envision it. I just thought we'd give it a little bit of highlight down here as if there were fires glowing, going down. And don't worry, we'll come and we'll dull this out a bit so it doesn't look like our tower is just on fire. But we do want to give it some personality, that's right. There we go. We're just making some levels down here. And you can see the glow behind. And you can put in maybe a tower right here that will separate that. Push it back a little into the painting. There we go. So then we come with that gray. And we can define that here. Oh, and that's a little too white, but you just work it in. Just work it into that stone type color. There you go. We're not painting Minas Tirith here. We don't need that much white, right? There we go. And maybe this was built right up into these rocks here. You say, oh, Timbo, look at that. That's a little too bright and cheery for this place. That's okay. That's okay. We're going to mix that down. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll make it still a dark and ominous place. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Just taking some of our ivory black and mixing it in there. We just want to have some color in there. There we go. Just so you can define those rocks. And then our blacks, ooh, will stick out even more. There we go. Just making it many towers. Many towers right down here. And you can spend all afternoon putting these in if you want. I'm just going to do a few just to give you the idea. There we go. And let's do some more. Oh, you say that's too white to move. Don't worry, don't worry. Just scrape that down. Why, this is just giving us something to build off of. Normally we put the darks down to build off the dark, but since this is such a dark painting, we put the light down, and then we're building on that light. You see how that works? Right there. There we go. And remember, this was a great fortress. Many orcs and things living in there, planning their monstrous plans for the takeover of Middle-earth. Spewing all the hate that's set forth from this place. And there were windows too. Many windows. In these towers. There we go. So you see, I just want to give you an idea of the things you can do. Maybe over here. Got some of those in. Now we have our area down there. Let's put some rocks and things in there. And again, we're going to do kind of the same thing. We're going to highlight this. And then we'll mix it down. And there we go. We're just going to switch back over to our larger palette knife here. I'm just going to come on. We'll go into some of that ivory black. And now let's mix this down. Just put these rocks in here. There we go. There we go. Let's maybe even come... We'll even use our blender brush. Put a little of our titanium white on there. Wipe that off. Oops. Come back to it. And now let's just soften this out. Just to make it some steam rising. Mix that down. There we go. There we are. Now let's come to come to the fan brush. Now let's take some of that dark. We'll go with our burnt umber. Just mix that down with some of the ivory black just to make it dark. And let's just give some land in here. Might need a little more color so it shows up. So come to our titanium white. Mix that in. And that'll mix with the dark colors that are already on the canvas. There we go. There is that sullen desert where nothing but thorny things grow. So we just put that in, just mix that up. It gets lost in the dark, lost in the black. There we are. And put some color back into these cliffs here. There we go. There we are. Now, if I were going to do this again, I probably should have put a plane back there so you could see the horizon. But we can do that next time. If you're going to do it, just put that in there. But maybe we can put just some shapes of some mountains back here. Just put those in. There we go. Nothing big, nothing big. Just off in the distance. And there's more of that desert plain there. There we go. All right. Now we gotta finish off our eye, don't we? That's right. So we have that there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to come to some of our bright red. Let's just make sure we don't have more paint on there than we want. And we'll start with our eye right here in the center. There we go. And we'll just make that the eye in the very top tower. Wipe off our palette knife. Now let's take some yellow in there. Let's put some yellow right in the center. And we mixed it in and it disappeared. That's okay. We can try that again. We just won't use such a heavy hand. That's what this all is. It's just fun. We're just learning how to do it as we go along. There we are. Now, that out a little. Maybe if we can give a tad more yellow. Right there in the center, we can give it a pupil as well. My hands are getting shaky. So I've just got a little strip of our ivory black, and we'll just give this right in the center there. Oh, my hand shook a little bit, but that's okay. He's looking around. We'll just say that's what's going on. We'll say that's what's going on. Oh, there we go. Now maybe we'll even put a figure or two up there. Oh, my Grandgaffer Gamgee and Mr. Frodo. Oh, and of course the creature Gollum had followed him this far. That's right. So just with our palette knife, just the silhouette of a little hobbit going in. There we go. And you don't have to do that if you don't want. I just thought it'd be fun just to put that in there. There we are. And there you have it. Oh, Mordor, Barad-dûr, and Mount Doom. That's right, such a scary place. Such a fun part of the story, though. Oh, Professor Tolkien knew what he was doing when he put these stories down. That's for sure. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you try this one. I'll probably try it a few more times myself, going from different spots or different angles or that sort of thing. But it's pretty fun just to try. That's right. Have a good week. Goodbye, and God bless.